to Duck Insider.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
8 days away. Can you believe that? We are 8 days away from the start of Oregon football season. Thanks for joining us for a Friday edition of Duck Insider, where we are going to hear from defensive line coach, associate head coach, co-defensive coordinator Joe Salavea. That is coming up. We also will hear from head coach Mario Cristobal. He just wrapped up talking to the media, about 10 minutes ago. And we've got it ready to go for you. So we'll have that for you coming up here in just a little while. Also, it is, of course, Halloween Eve. I hope everybody has a safe Halloween and find a way to have a little bit of spooky fun in this crazy environment that we are living in, as long as you can do so safely. Grab those masks and do what you need to do to stay safe out there this weekend. We will have, speaking of Halloween, something pretty scary for you tomorrow, because Jerry, Jorgie, Terry, and I will all be on the air for our 2-hour kickoff special. That's coming up at 11 a.m. live from Autzen Stadium. We will be spaced out in about 2.5 booths. I say 2.5 booths because I actually sit in the hallway for these things. This is how we've been able to space everything out. So join us tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock, our 2-hour preseason special, all the highlights from fall camp and beyond. Join us because we're going to have a lot of fun, to be honest with you, as we head into the start of Oregon football season. Kickoff special presented by Toyota coming your way tomorrow from 11 to 1 across the Oregon Sports Network on the GoDucks app, goducks.com. Tune in wherever you want to listen in, you can. Well, I'll tell you what, Mario Cristobal was asked a very, very big question to open his press conference today. And Mario Cristobal had a lot of fun during his press conference today. So I'm going to get out of the way, and we're going to hear from head coach Mario Cristobal talking with the media before game week. That's right. It's the last time that we'll hear from the Ducks before game week comes up, starting really this weekend. Mario Cristobal, Oregon football
Morning,
head
good
coach.
afternoon. Wrapping up our Fast Friday routine as we head full bore into opponent work. Coming off a really big practice on Wednesday, where we worked all kinds of situational football, both against ourselves, good on good, as well as Stanford. Yesterday was our mental sweat day, and today is our Fast Friday, where we're playing football. We're doing it in spiders. Tomorrow we're back in pads again. Not only are we simulating a game, but we're also getting good on good work against each other, ones-on-ones, twos-on-twos. Just trying to gain as many reps as we can, at the same time preparing for the game next Saturday. So with that being said, open to questions.
Hey, Mario, who's your starting quarterback?
I don't know what I'm more shocked at, that question or the fact that you actually beat James Crepea to the first question. I mean, it's just incredible. So, we're working ourselves through that, and at the right moment, guys, respectfully, we'll make that announcement.
Coach, as you lost the practices, what's your process for moving into game week prep? And how did those two lost practices factor into your original plan?
We just changed the format of the seating to what we did was, since we had a scrimmage planned and we couldn't go through with the scrimmage, we used the situational scrimmage stuff and moved it right into Tuesday and Wednesday. And those were, Wednesday and the rest of the weekend. It's been about, I would say 80-90% of the play count that we would have had. We pulled back on some of the group, some of the unit, and some of the individual time to make it work, so that the rep count didn't change drastically. But we did get live work, and we got good on good work, and then we started moving into work against Stanford. So, it was a little bit of a juggling act, but overall, the players did a great job handling it. I think sudden change is part of the season, as it relates not only to the field, but relates to scheduling and things that are unforeseen that you're going to have to deal with. And this was one of them. And I'm glad part of me is glad that we had the opportunity to deal with a situation that didn't have any consequences and yet prepared us for what the reality of the world is right now.
How's Cam McCormick's camp been, and how just basically health-wise, how do you envision him fitting in with you guys this season?
Yeah, we've taken it slow with Cam, knowing that what he's been through a lot. Great football player, and he brings a lot to the table. So I think we're close to the point where Cam's going to be ready to go. We just, when you've been through as much as he has, we do take it just a little bit slower and just making sure that he is right. So, he's such a valuable member of this organization as a person, as a player. So looking forward to big things from Cam.
Mario, where are you guys at physically at this point in fall camp compared to last year, especially given the quicker ramp up that you guys had to this fall camp on the verge of game week now?
Sure. Well, I don't think you can compare the two, quite honestly. When you look at last year's camp, you have 6 to 8 weeks of strength and conditioning leading up to what equates to probably 5.5 weeks of work with camp work, I should say, along with 2.5 scrimmages, probably 8 to 12 player-led practices. It's a very different operation and a very different process. Where are we in terms of how we feel about our schemes and how our players have taken ownership of them? Not far, pretty close to being there. In terms of where we are from a conditioning standpoint, I think we're also close to being exactly where we need to be come game time. And a year ago, man, that's so – you're asking me to remember a year ago. I think I hardly remember a day and a half ago. So, but there's a difference in preparation. I don't feel like that there's much of a difference in where we are now as we would have been at this point in camp last year.
Yeah, Mario, you always talk about depth and building dependable depth. Where are you guys at right now? How deep is this team going into game week prep?
Well, it depends on what position, we're talking about. I feel like the running back position has built not only depth, but more than quality depth. These guys they all have a role, and they're all going to play. They're really good football players. I think the big question everyone had was, with the amount of attrition at the offensive line, where would it be? And I think we're at 8, approaching 9, and goal 10 players that can play winning football and win a championship for us, and we're getting there fast. Those guys at Coach Mirabal have done a great job. And as I look across, I think we're right on the verge. By the end of tomorrow, we should have a legitimate 2 to 2.5 deep at our positions. Some obviously are probably a little bit, I would say, more seasoned than others. But overall, we feel like we are on the cusp of having a legitimate 2 to 2.5 deep across the board.
Mario, regardless of who ends up winning the quarterback job, just what is the plan in terms of the distribution of reps once practice gets into game prep next week? And then what is the practice plan for next week since Tuesday's off? Are you then on Monday? You're just reversing the days, or what's the plan with Tuesday off?
Yeah, we would just reverse the days is what it'll be. So that's why, these past couple of days have been critical, as well as tomorrow. Tomorrow there's a line you got to walk tomorrow, because even though you want to take the pads off Sunday, you're back at it Monday, and then you're back at it Wednesday. You want to play football. We're going to keep our physicality and do what we do with block destruction and everything else. But at the same time, we're going to be very mindful of that we just don't stray from our processes. It's just different days, so that'll work out. In terms of the rep count will be what it always will be for us in terms of the game week and the quarterbacks handling it. And that being said, a big part of that is even going into this final week, we feel that both these quarterbacks are going to be prepared to play and play winning football for us.
Coach, I asked you this a couple of weeks ago, but you guys have played a lot of football since then in practice. Who's been standing out this second half of fall camp for you heading into Stanford week?
It's a good chunk of guys now. It's a good chunk. We mentioned a lot of guys last time. A guy that really popped on film this week was Christian Williams. I think him. I think Keon. Dorless, I think those 3 guys just continue to really just pop. About the older guys, about Jordan, about Austin. They pop. I can't mention enough. I don't want Austin to get jealous now, because I'm giving Andrew all the love, but the Falu brothers have been outstanding, as well as Jordan Scott. Just that front has really turned it on. Seeing a lot of positive stuff from guys like Adrian Jackson, and we got to continue working with him to take that next step, because he could be an unbelievable contributor to the program. Got to take that next step and got to have consistency. And gosh, there's been some guys, I can't say enough about George Moore and the camps he's had. George is really just taking it upon himself to be accountable on a play-by-play basis. Jalen Smith has done a great job playing offensive line for us and is going to be a contributor to us this year. Man, I've mentioned the receivers, I think. I mentioned Patrick Herbert has done a really good job as well. You know about Camp and Cam and about Spencer, but this is now, Patrick's year as well. I think he's stood out. So, I mean, I'm going to end up mentioning the whole roster and kind of go in circles here. So I feel good about our camp. I feel good about the way our guys are developing. I feel better about the part that none of them, at least by the way that we approach it, none of them feel like they've arrived and that we have a lot to prove. We are, in essence, I believe, the youngest team in America from a roster standpoint, if you count up our underclassmen. And so when you have that, you can't take a second for granted, and you can never take your foot off the gas. You've got to keep culture on 24/7, and you got to roll.
Hi, Coach. I'm wanting to hear a bit more about Alex Forsyth and his development. You mentioned him a bit last week, but what steps did he have to take to really get prepared for being a center?
Well, I got to be honest with you, that's one of the toughest jobs that there is. You go from playing without the ball in your hand and now having the responsibility of making sure that thing is on point on every single play. And for those that know, and Alex as a person, as a competitor, this guy is, he's exactly what you want. He fits exactly what we look for in this program. There's a guy, I've been making fun of him for years. He walks around with a gallon of water like Ray Lewis does, man, always hydrating, doing the little things right. And he just, I guess the best way to put it, he just grinds himself into being great. It's not like he just earns everything. And honestly, he wouldn't want it any other way. He just wants to grind and get better and push those around them and hold people to a high standard. He's a guy that, you turn the corner in the office because you're going to go grab some coffee or something. He's running up the offensive lineman. They're getting some extra film work because he's doing it on his own. He's proactive about it. He lives a purpose-driven life, and he is driven to be a great football player and a great leader for our team this year.
Alex Forsyth going to be a big part of the Ducks' success this year. His leadership has really garnered a lot of attention, not just from Coach Cristobal, but from a ton of people around the Oregon athletic program. Alex Forsyth, the name that you're going to want to know along that Oregon offensive line, an Oregonian himself. Tobias with a funny comment. Can Coach Cristobal fill in at left tackle this year? He's probably still got it. He does still have it, trust me. Coach Cristobal, we've joked before with Coach Joe Salavea, who you're going to hear from coming up just a little bit later. Who would win in an Oklahoma drill between Mario Cristobal and Joe Salavea?
I would pay to see that.
I mean,
that would be a good matchup.
I'm telling you, those are two highly competitive individuals. Highly competitive individuals. All right, quick timeout. We're going to come back, hear the rest of what Coach Cristobal had to say, including a little bit more on the schedule ahead and what things look like now that we head toward a game week against Stanford. We're 8 days away from the start of Oregon football season, and we're back inside the Country Financial Studio hearing from Coach Cristobal next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield IMG College.
Tweens have mastered the art of tuning out. Jen, there's a spider in the car. We're turning your room into a home gym. See? Nothing. But some messages need to get through. Like making sure they're buckled up the whole ride, every time. Do whatever it takes to make your child listen. Jen, I friended your boyfriend.
Wait, what?
Buckle up, sweetie.
Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
To buy your home, you became a house hunting ace, learned about loans, scoured neighborhoods, and asked the right questions. Now you're queen of your castle. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll feel empowered to own your retirement like you own your home. Go to aceyourretirement.org. Because when it comes to clearing financial hurdles, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you inside the Country Financial Studio. We continue with Oregon football head coach Mario Cristobal. He met with the media just a little while ago. Part 2 of his press conference and his discussion heading into the start of game week. Oregon and Stanford coming up next Saturday at 4:30 on ABC, 2:30 pregame right here on the Oregon Sports Network. And tomorrow, our preseason kickoff special with Jerry Allen, Mike Jorgensen, Terry Johns, and myself, 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock across the Oregon Sports Network. Join us for a full Oregon football season preview, interviews with coaches, Jorgie's keys to the season, schedule breakdown, you name it, we're going to talk about it. Let's hear more from Oregon football head coach Mario Cristobal.
Mario, you mentioned a few minutes ago about your team being close as we head into game week here. What are some of those things that you'd like to see improvement on next week as you get closer to kickoff? And I'm just wondering also what the mood is with the team. Are they ready to strap it up and go?
Yeah, they are. They've been for a while. But I think you're always going to look for a more polished execution, right? You want to make sure your eye discipline, your technique, your fundamentals, your pad level, all those things are things that show up early in football games. Well, we've had the benefit of watching other teams, so that should that should stoke your fire a little bit more and let you know that, hey, we can't afford to walk into this and make a game one. We got to practice and prepare in a way and in a fashion that's going to make this feel like game 3 or 4. So those are the kind of results we're looking for in terms of the technique and the fundamentals, the level of execution, the communication, all those things. You can't separate those things. They all go hand in hand to play the kind of football that we're used to here, to play penalty free, right, which comes with technique and discipline and effort to finish plays, which is going to be the ultimate difference, right? Who can actually finish their plays? Because that's what we're looking for on film. We're looking on film for guys that are being on point with their assignments and tied into technique and fundamentals, and that can finish that play. And whether it's good or bad, they can put it aside and move on to the next one, right? Because that's the key to the drill, the next play. So all those things.
Mario, when you look at what's happened at Wisconsin and Clemson, particularly at quarterback, do you kind of tell Tyler and Anthony not to hang out off the field? And how do you kind of separate rooms so if something happens, not everyone is lost in a particular position?
Sure. No, we strategically do our best to room guys in a fashion, but it is mathematically it is impossible to make it perfect. But you really try to mitigate the risk if something does happen where you have multiple guys at a position being knocked out of competition. So, when I think Coach Mirabal put it best the other day when talking about this is guys that if you opted into this season, you opted to be all in. That means you opted in to give up Halloween. That means you opted in to have your mask on all the time and not putting anybody at risk around you to the best of your ability, right? If something outside of that happens, it happens and you deal with it. But certainly never getting careless and putting the team first, because if you're not willing to do that, you're willing to give away an opportunity to play for a championship and have a great season. So credit to everyone involved in the organization for the steps that we have taken. But when I say that we emphasize and enforce and just hammer protocol 24/7, it might be the understatement of the year. We believe in that, and so far the results have been good, but all that means is that we have to elevate the standard even more.
Across college football this year, we've seen quarterbacks go down, like Ryan alluded to. We've seen also other programs play multiple quarterbacks in a game just to get reps for guys. Do you plan on doing that, and do you plan on doing that at other positions too, just finding ways to get guys some experience if need be?
No, there's always talk of that, but it boils down to this: is we're going to put together a plan for playing time that relates to who's earned it and who could help us win. It comes down to as simple as that. I do believe sometimes as coaches, you make the mistake to force playing time that hasn't been earned, deserved, or that someone is ready for. And other times you go the opposite way. You hold back for too long instead of giving someone an opportunity. So we're working hard to just diligently assess, evaluate film, demeanor and practice, consistency and performance, pride in performance, so that we can do that, because it really benefits you in so many different ways to continue to get your team to be deeper at positions where you need quality depth and quality play. So that's always on the table. I think you will see a lot of guys play this year, but if you look at us just traditionally, we play a lot of guys. You look at how many freshmen we played the past couple. We play a lot of guys. So is it going to be more this year? I'm not sure yet, but we'll play a lot of guys.
Mario, a couple of personnel bits. We were hearing something on Spencer Webb. If you could just clarify his health status at the moment. And with Robbie Ashford, obviously, since he's also balancing baseball, I know he's not doing it right now, but just what the plan is. We talked to Waz about that a little bit. Obviously, he said he's dedicated to football at the moment, but just what the plan is with Robbie in general with balancing that.
Yeah, Spencer's been practicing. He got a little bit banged up, so we've held him out a few days, but we don't expect him to miss a significant amount of time. Always evaluate guys day to day. And then in terms of Robbie's doing a great job. I mean, right now the focus is solely on football and has to be on football. And when you sign an athlete like that, you always have to have a prior agreement so that there isn't a later misunderstanding. And, those bridges, we cross them when we get to them. But as of right now, it's all about football.
In normal situations, Friday and Saturday nights of game weeks or Fridays and Saturdays for you guys are such a routine-based thing. With your walkthroughs and stuff you're doing to prep now, like how are you guys kind of prepare? Essentially, what's your Saturday mornings going to look like under these conditions?
Oh, that is a great question. The biggest difference, the way the meeting rooms are spaced out, you could only have a certain amount of guys in rooms, and you're always masked up. That's something we don't break. I have a mask off for this portion, and guys are very, very far away, and then it's back on. But we don't eat in the building, and when we do our pregame stuff, all that is being assessed, and the medical group will tell us exactly what and how you can do that. Our walkthroughs don't change because we are masked up. The process themselves, besides that, the use of the building will be very different because you spread it a little bit more. But mind you, we do antigen tests and PCR tests on, the day before the game and the day of the game as well. So there'll be some differences, but it won't be totally different. And we're doing everything we can to get our guys accustomed to the changes that we have.
Heading into game week, do you have a biggest surprise and biggest concern from going through fall camp so far?
We got some good surprises. I don't, maybe because I just focus on being forward thinking and about finding best solutions to any issues that we may have. I don't feel like we have a concern, like there's an issue where it's like, hey man, we have to cover something up, like a hole at a certain position. I don't feel like that. I've actually been lucky enough for a few years not to be in a situation because that's a tough deal, but I don't. The surprises at just how quickly these quarterbacks have just picked up this offense and have really excelled in it. I think that's something that has really impressed and has got everybody enthused. I do feel that I guess one of the better surprises would be that even though we have a smaller group of upperclassmen, that leadership is starting to come on, and that the leadership from them, like the true hard-nosed, educational, hold others accountable, inspire, support others, bring positive energy to the table. Every single day, you're seeing that just grow more and more, and that being demanded of each other. So those are the things that really stand out. The intangibles, right? The intangibles that are so important at this time as you're trying to galvanize your squad. Those are the things I feel like really strongly confident about.
Hey, Coach, Mastro yesterday spoke about CJ and Cyrus and how they've taken their games to the next level. What has caused them to do that this offseason? And then Mastro also talked about Cyrus earning the right to start. How are you guys balancing having multiple caliber guys that could start?
You play them all because they've earned it, they deserve it, and they all make us better, and they're all different. And then the biggest credit goes to the players in that room and also to Coach Mastro, because I think we've all seen and some of us have been in rooms where you have egos get in the way, especially when everybody wants the ball, right? There's one ball, multiple players. That group, every time somebody has success, they are so happy for each other. I mean, they are the first to run down the field and celebrate and congratulate those guys when they make a big play in practice or in a game. We've made a cut up of it where you see those guys, they're like, I mean, they just, boom, just running as fast as they can down the field to celebrate with those guys. And that's contagious. So tremendous amount of appreciation for those guys.
I love that Coach brought that up because Travis Dye has often been the first guy down the field on the sideline anytime. I've noticed that, and you do see it with the running backs. The way that Cyrus Bibilikio goes about his business and his personality, CJ Verdell, all those guys in that room, it really is infectious. I mean, you see it on the sideline. In a normal season, I'm fortunate enough to be down there and kind of amongst the guys during games, and you do see that from the running back group. They really, really support each other, and I think it rubs off on everybody around them. And you know who the running backs love more than anybody? The offensive line. I mean, the offensive line and the running backs, if you don't like each other, they like each other an awful lot around here. Mario Cristobal, the Oregon football head coach, meeting with the media. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're inside the Country Financial Studio. Going to go to the defensive line next and hear from Joe Salavea. Stick with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
This football season, prepare your taste buds for the most iconic sports watching drink of all time, Pepsi. With refreshing deliciousness specially formulated to keep your eye on the ball and mouth-watering fizziness to help you power through game day, Pepsi has everything you need to start strong.
I used to care when Mike cheered so hard he spilled nacho cheese on my carpet, but thanks to Pepsi, even Mike can't ruin my football party.
So this football season, make Pepsi your go-to game day drink because it's the only drink made for football watching. Pepsi, that's what I like.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Whoa, long time no see. It's me, the Rock t-shirt in the back of your closet. Dude, remember? You crowd surfed in me, man. But you haven't worn me in like forever. I get it, you're retired, but I still got some rock left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I wasn't prepared to be a caregiver to Mom. I had no idea how hard it would be and what I would need to know. Things I never thought of, like how to improve her mood and ways for me to stay positive. Luckily, I found the Caregiving Resource Center from AARP. It had articles about the basics, but also information about the hurdles I was facing.
Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving. Articles, tips, and tools to help you both care for your loved one and care for yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're closing in on a basketball season as well. We've got the men's schedule's shell, at least, and the women's schedule, hoping to see that soon from the Pac-12 Conference. Jackson Food Stores, proud sponsor of the University of Oregon Ducks. Stop by your neighborhood Jackson's for all your game day essentials. Go Ducks, and thanks to Jackson's. Joe Salavea, the Oregon football co-defensive coordinator, associate head coach, and defensive line coach. Really, he's just an inspiring figure for a lot of young men and a hell of a coach. Joe Salavea talked to the media yesterday afternoon after we got off the air for Duck Insider with some updates on the defensive line and the depth of that position with some guys like the Brandon Dorlises of the world, the Christian Williams, the Keon Ware-Hudsons, who Coach Cristobal all mentioned. Some of those young guys, those three and more that have been flashing behind a veteran group, might be Oregon's deepest and one of the most talented position groups on the team. Joe Salavea talking defensive line.
How much does it help you to have three starters back? How much does that help during fall camp?
You know, whenever you can gain game experience, man, that goes a long way. So those guys are a tremendous asset to our unit and our program. So, you know, it's just a matter of getting back in the regimen and the routine of getting back up to speed and improve. That's the goal now, but it's always good to have the experience.
Coach, you know, you have two redshirt freshmen I've been taking a look at in the middle of your defense, Keon Ware-Hudson and Christian Williams. Can you talk about those two, what you've seen from them, and what you're hoping they can contribute to you this year?
Man, it's you know, I think what a difference a year make. I think we're always advocating for our guys to make improvements each year, and the only way to progress is, you know, making sure that the nutrition, the development, the body changes from year to year. But those guys are right now are working their tail off, and you know, Keon came in in a lighter weight that you know, that's been reflective of his play so far, and so I'm excited to where he's trending. Christian has been a really big time presence in our practices so far. You know, he's also coming off of an injury, so to have a renewed sense of health for him, it's been awesome, and he's been stacking some great sessions, practices, and you know, we chart our Havoc percentage for the group, and you know, Chris is right up there, and same as Keon. So looking to see that continue and progress, and we're excited.
Joe, I know KT's a known commodity at defensive end. We know what he brings. Who are, I guess, what's the development like behind him, and who are some names to know at that spot?
You know, shoot, KT brings some of those attributes that you can't coach, you know, but it's his incline to trying to master his talent, and with our edge guys, with Coach Andy Avalos, you know, I think he's given himself an opportunity to grow and be that much more of a formidable defender on the field for our program. So, you know, I think with that said, you know, I think we've got some young guys that are still trying to find their niche, and they're developing, and we're excited about where the progression is going for all of our guys on the perimeter. You know, obviously we got a lot of young guys in the fold, but you know, obviously KT leads the way with that regard.
Wanted to ask about, I know Jalen Smith got loaned over to the offense. I wanted to ask about how that came about. Did you recognize that? The offensive guys recognize that? What brought that about?
You know, it's just been unprecedented type of year and a season, obviously, with a lot of moving parts and so forth, and the changes. You know, I think Jalen just he's epitomizes what being a football player is. He's not restricted to just one part of the field. For him to be able to do that, it just speaks to his athleticism and his ability to work on both sides of the ball. And so I'm excited. You know, I think the biggest thing for Jalen is wanting to be a great teammate and contribute in any way. And so we're excited because he's the one that's going to have the opportunity to be able to wear two different hats down the road here for us.
Joe Jordan's a guy who seemed to check most of the things off of his bucket list last year, you know, winning the Pac-12, the Rose Bowl, getting his degree and all that, but he came back. Did that surprise you at all? And what can he do as a senior to help himself even more at the next level, in your opinion?
You know, I think there's a lot of decision-making by a lot of these guys and their families. You know, for Jordan, the opportunity to trim down, and he's really done a phenomenal job honing in on getting his body right and reshaped, and it's paying off right now because he moves a lot more quicker. But moving forward, I think with him coming back wasn't enough. It's to come back and hopefully to elevate his leadership. I think those are the things that he's excited about, and the challenges of what else can he do to be a great impact to his fellow teammates. And then again, you also have, Austin, the same thing. Those guys have a bucket list of things that they're personally chasing after. But the main thing for us and for them is to really, really impact and help elevate the room, and obviously on our side of the ball and defense, they can do that by demonstrating that every day. And those are the things that, those guys are willing to accept, embrace.
Mentioned this in his about impact players. I'm just wondering from your point of view, where you guys are now as a unit. We're just, 10, 11 days away from game. Are you close? Are you getting there? What's your impression of where this group is right now?
The goal was to when we got the green light was how can we make this start building our depth chart. A very dependability was the key, and how can we can work those things. Right now there's a group of guys there in our room are really getting after it now. You go with Popo's done a phenomenal job. I think his ability now, he's helped himself in getting his body right now. The mental part of it is he's able to put more on his plate, learning a couple other, being cross-trained at a different position. And that helps him be a factor in some of the things that we're doing up front. You got Brandon Dorless, he's also coming on his own. He's got a gift. All those guys are gifted, but I think the biggest thing right now is all those guys there, Dorless, Jordan, Christian, Keon, Popo, man, those guys are really getting after. They're competing. The competition level really picked up for that room, and it needs to be. I think that's the biggest thing now is everybody's trying to make a case for themselves, and I think the biggest thing is the film. We always evaluate the film and trying to find ways to minimize the errors and all those things. And I think the production sheet that we chart also speaks to that. And those guys are full aware of where we need to be and the steps that needs to have happened. And it starts in, again, gaining the trust of their peers, but also, us as a staff, because I think that's the biggest thing, that the games are always going to be won and lost at the line of scrimmage. And those guys are right now has been a positive thing. And we're just trying to find a way to grind it and improve each day. And if we can continue to do that, we'll give ourselves a chance.
Coach, you signed quite a large defensive line class in 2020, and it had 5 defensive ends, defensive tackles combined. You may need some of those guys this year. Are there any true freshmen that are looking to you like, yeah, I think that guy can probably help us this year?
Well, again, you got Jake Shipley. Jake Shipley was a mid-year, and his development's coming along. He's doing some great things. He's a guy with length. Again, we're excited about where his development is headed. And Jason Jones, came back real light. He's already a big guy to start off. He's another one that again, it's just a matter of getting the repetition and consistency for all of those guys. But those are some of the guys that we're excited about. Obviously, with Suava and Mikel Alfaese, those guys, it's too soon to say, but if they continue to compete and utilize the teaching and the coaching that we're giving them, those guys are going to be names that are going to be recognized here shortly. As far as just their opportunities and being able to contribute to the unit. So very excited for all of those guys.
Joe Salavea, the Oregon defensive line coach. We're going to continue hearing from him. You hear some excitement around that position group. One of the younger position groups with a few older veterans in front of them, but a lot of talent. Stuck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. More from Joe Salavea inside the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar presents an original that's now maybe even better. Mary had a little lamb.
Mary had a bottle of Mountain Dew Zero Sugar with the same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. Same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. Same refreshing taste as the original, but with zero sugar. Mary had a bottle of Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. Let's taste was as good as the original, maybe even better.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. As good as the original, maybe even better.
This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
All right, everybody in the car. Let's go.
What are we going to do first when we get there, Mom? Go for a hike?
Sure.
What about canoeing? Can we go canoeing too?
I don't see why.
How long does it take to get to the forest?
It's not that far, sweetie.
Are we there yet?
Yep, we're here.
Already?
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
They say that car crashes happen in slow motion. The reality is that crashes happen fast. There's no time to think and no time to check if your child is in the right car seat. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your kids in the right seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Get more info at safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. And today's show brought to you by North Fork Public House, open for dine-in and takeout, northforkeugene.com. Jerry and Jorgie will be joining us for picks brought to you by North Fork Public House next Friday. For now, we continue hearing from Joe Salavea. He met with the media to talk about the defensive line. Big Joe, Coach Joe, as they call him, talking with the media.
Joe, a couple of days ago, Andy Avalos also brought up the Havoc rating that you mentioned earlier. How do you measure that, and who are some other players aside from, I think you said Christian and Keon, who've had pretty good numbers there?
You know, everything is opportunities at the ball. You know, for us, be a third down situation. Obviously, it's kind of scarce and sometimes with the interior guys, but you know, we have certain opportunities there, and the ones that continues to beat their one-on-ones and are around the ball. Those are the guys that are being graded for the productions. You know, I think it's a no-brainer, but it's the best way to make sure that all of our guys are understanding where they're at and what they can do to improve themselves. You know, no different than grading their technique, their effort, all those things. You know, it's one thing to be evaluated, but to really have those presented to those guys, you know, it just gives them a meaning of why they need to go hard, why they need to be exact in a lot of things that we're asking them to do as far as, you know, their execution and the consistency part.
Hey, Coach, I know it's been an unprecedented year, but what's it been like recruiting during the pandemic? Lots of Zooms, as the other coaches said, but what's it been like for you recruiting with this staff?
You know, I think the biggest thing is it starts from the top down. You know, I coach Cristobal and his ability to be able to connect with folks and people. I'm just blessed to be a part of this staff that are men of character and leadership, and I think that they're the relationship building for our staff and the way they're able to connect with people has been the biggest part of our recruiting methods. You know, I think those are the things about, it's a people industry, and you know, when it's done right and you're surrounded by that type of staff and our staff, you know, it's not hard to sell our university and our institution. And quite frankly, I think it's been a blessing to go through these kind of challenging times, because it really enhanced the fact that you know, there's a lot of things that we're able to connect with families and these young men as we move further along with the recruiting. But again, the challenge is always trying to make sure that, you know, you're addressing the needs of these families, academics, the surrounding areas, the campus life, and all those things have never changed. You know, I think those are the things, and then providing them with the information and the of what we're doing here as a program, football wise. You know, I think those are the things that our people are trying to find out what is going on in Eugene. You know, and there's been a great draw from a lot of folks. Man, we have our specific areas, but I think the brand is strong, and you know, you're gaining a lot of interest from all across the country. And it's just a matter of making sure that they fit what we do here. That's the other piece. You know, we're not just trying to get anyone and everybody into the house. We're making sure that the character is checked off, and then their personality, and they're willing to buy into our culture is the biggest thing. And so those things. So what happens is, when you get those things aligned, you don't have to worry about, you know, trying to manage a group of guys, because you already vetted and went through the process of getting it. But again, when you work for Coach Cristobal, it's understood. It's really clear what that is, and the checklist of things that we're looking for in the prospects. And you know, we're not going to sit back and let things happen. However it is, if we can control it, we'll control it. And the best part of being the recruiting is to have the opportunity to meet some of these families and their interests, and why Oregon, and why not Oregon.
Joe, just wanted to go through on the true 4i 6 kind of area with KT behind him. Who's in that mix at the 4i spot?
Well, you got Braden Swinson. You know, he's coming along as well. Again, he's another young man that just got into the program, and his development is going to continue to climb, and excited for him. You know, we got you know, Brandon Dorlitz is also another athletic player that, you know, helps and provides that type of experience there in the 4i. It all depends on the things that we're doing. But you know, Isaac Townsend has shown some ability in there. And there's a handful of guys that we have that are continuing to grow, and we're excited about in their development. You know, I think that's the biggest thing when you're recruiting. You know, you want to make sure that you're recruiting someone that has unlimited potential, that can grow into a couple of different positions. You know, I think that allows you to have that type of a chance to place them in certain situations that they can be an impact in the bigger scheme of things. So looking forward to all those guys to continue to grow.
Joe, I couldn't help but think of some of the similarities between Jason and Jordan, and obviously a couple years apart, of just coming from the Southeast, reshaping their body, and we hear all these positive things. Are there similarities there? I know maybe positionally and size and everything are a little different, but you kind of draw a comparison from kind of where they came from and kind of how they've worked?
Yeah, it's just the way the world now. I think the world's not as far and distant at the end of the day. You know, I think these young men, they came here for a reason. They saw something in the program, not just from an athletic standpoint, but, you know, the overall development, life after football. You know, those are the things that have been discussed consistently. And what we're very excited about is for them to come across the aisle to Eugene. Again, there has to be a plan of development. There has to be a real legitimate opportunity for all of them. And, you know, I wouldn't compare them in that regard, but I think the passion, and they're driven young men that are wanting to build themselves, not just as football players, but, you know, off the field and in their careers when it's all said and done. And that's, you know, reflective of Jordan finishing college, actually his degree before he even graduated. So, that's a reflective of what the program is and what we're building here with Coach Cristobal, is trying to make sure that our guys are having to build their portfolio and their profiles so that they are equipped and ready to attack life after ball. And that's been a great joy to see some of our guys finish up and they're ready to take on that second career. And so we're looking forward to continue that trend and make sure that all of our guys are prepared for that.
Popo's areas of improvement. What are you seeing from him on the field now?
I think that's the biggest thing. I think he's starting to reshape his body. He's able to move and have a little bit more mobility. Those are the things that always would help in the long run to be able to carry that weight. Obviously he's a big player. He's a big person. But I think that in the last year or so, he has truly, again, with the work of Coach Feld and the guys in the weight room, those things have really helped Popo be effective on the field, because now his quality of play is consistent. Now the biggest thing now he's doing is with the confidence that he's gained. He's able to now look at the other positions and the things that he can gain knowledge about, so that he's able to be training, cross-train in that regard too. I think he's one of the guys that, about midway through the season last year, was really playing some really good ball, and he was effective, made some really critical, important plays for us on defense, and you can just see the confidence in him. I think that's the biggest thing right now. The confidence in Popo will continue. He's a very conscientious kid. He's always looking for ways. He's calling and texting. What are some of the things that he can work on? That you appreciate that as a coach, that a player that's constantly thinking about trying to improve his play. And really it's the preparation. That's for all of our guys. I think our guys are in a position to be whatever they want to be, so long as they continue to invest in themselves and the process that we have laid out for them. And I think we're looking forward, like I said, we're in a heated competition with all those guys that I mentioned, and we're looking forward to see where we're at in a few days.
Yeah, that's just good stuff from Joe Salovey. It's bigger than football for him, and he's brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. WVCI bringing you all of our assistant coach interviews throughout fall camp. Up next, a Halloween tradition around Oregon athletics that will make you smile. Great way to go into the weekend after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics, because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Having a little fun as we wrap things up on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. From inside the Country Financial Studio, it's a Halloween tradition for Oregon baseball that dates back as long as I can remember. It's our Oregon Imaging Center's inside look at the Halloween baseball practice. So we had a cowboy, we've got a sumo wrestler, and they are wearing masks and practicing. An alien as well. The Ducks at PK Park, socially distanced. Tigger was there. It just goes on and on for Oregon baseball. They've always done this. They always do a practice in costume. They have a lot of fun with it, socially distanced, masked up, but they can still have some fun with the Halloween practice for Oregon baseball. What a great way to head into the weekend with some great, great fun for Oregon baseball. That's your inside look at obviously a hard-hitting Oregon baseball practice. Oregon Imaging Centers would like to remind you that you have a choice in choosing your medical imaging provider. Choose quality, choose service, choose Oregon Imaging Centers. The choice is yours. Our inside look, always brought to you by Oregon Imaging Centers. You know, I thought this week, like, it's Halloween, I got to do something fun for our inside look. I mean, that's an inside look into a baseball practice. Seriously, though, that tradition goes back for, I mean, God, I think they might have done that since pre-actual playing real games here at Oregon when George Horton first restarted the program with Pat Kilkenny. I mean, it goes back a long ways, and it's a pretty fun time. Hey, join us tomorrow, 11 to 1 o'clock across the Oregon Sports Network. We've got our Toyota kickoff special. Full preview with Jerry, Jorgie, Terry, and myself. We'll see you at Autzen tomorrow.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Hundo P. Hundo P. Adjective. Short for being 100% sure or certain. As in, if we get a puppy, I'll Hundo P always walk it.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and